I am a single mother to my one and only son. We've been living in our house for many years, and the weight of time is beginning to show. My son is 15 now, and like me, he's always been sensitive to the paranormal. He's a sweet and gentle soul, but a little shy and doesn't enjoy socializing much. Despite that, he's always stayed close to me, like a shadow. I had a best friend named Ally. We were inseparable growing up. We used to plan our futures together, dream about the lives we'd lead, and talk about raising our kids as if they were siblings. But those dreams were shattered when she tragically passed away at 19. I was 21 when I had my son, and he never had the chance to meet her. Even so, I often talk to him about her, sharing stories and memories, and he listens with that curious gleam in his eyes. Ally and I made a promise long ago that we always be there for each other's children, even if we couldn't be around ourselves. When my son was just 4 years old, he started telling me about a lady standing in the corner by the television, waving for him to come closer. I was baffled because I couldn't see anyone where he was pointing. I asked him what he meant, and he said, "Mama, the lady with brown hair and blue eyes is waving at me. Who is she?" The description left me speechless because I knew he couldn't have made it up. He was describing my best friend, Ally. She had passed away before he was born, and he'd never even seen a picture of her. I had planned to wait until he was at least 10 before telling him about Ally, who would have been his godmother. But here he was, describing her perfectly, even though he had no way of knowing what she looked like. I couldn't believe it. It was as though she was keeping her promise, checking in on us, especially on my son. She had found a way to watch over him, just like she had promised she would, long before he ever came into this world. My son doesn't recall much now, but he used to talk about seeing the girl in his dreams who looked just like Ally. More recently, he's been seeing an old woman around the house. One day, he told me he was heading to his room when he glanced back downstairs and caught sight of an old woman walking by. She paused for a moment to look at him before vanishing in the blink of an eye. Our home, which we've lived in for years, was built in the 1880s. My great-grandfather purchased it from an old man shortly after World War II. Sometimes around 2 a.m., I feel the presence of that old man lingering by my bedside. It sends shivers down my spine, and when I look, there's no one there. The house is steeped in history, and its walls have seen generations come and go. I can't help but feel that the past is still very much alive within its creaky floorboards and shadowy corners, with Ally, the old woman, and the old man all watching over us in their spectral way. My son has also mentioned hearing footsteps around 3 a.m. from time to time. When my mother visits, she often says she senses the presence of a young girl, around 6 years old. I've seen this girl too, but I've kept it to myself. She has blonde hair tied up in pigtails and a certain ethereal quality about her. I've caught glimpses of her a few times, even once through the attic window when I returned home from work. It was eerie, but there's something gentle about her presence. I can't shake the feeling that she's meant to be a guardian angel of sorts, though I could be wrong. One evening, after stepping out of the shower and preparing to get dressed, I unexpectedly felt a tap on my back. I spun around, but there was no one there. Confused, I turned back to face the mirror, and that's when I saw her reflection. A young girl, perhaps about 10 years old, dressed in a long white dress and barefoot. She disappeared as quickly as she appeared, but the vision was clear. The next day, the experience took on an even more tangible reality when I discovered a handprint on my back. It's 2 a.m., and I hear loud bangs from the kitchen, cabinets slamming and plates clattering. My son is terrified of his room, saying he sees the old woman staring at him from the closet, the same one I mentioned before. It's gotten so bad that he now sleeps in my bed, too scared to stay in his own. I can't blame him. I feel the same oppressive vibe. We're reaching a breaking point, and I don't know what to do. I'm considering looking for new rental houses, maybe even moving in with my parents. Anything would be better for my son and me. We'll go anywhere, leave everything behind if we have to. I just want him to be okay because this house has taken such a toll on both of us. When we were younger, my best friend Allie and I used to hang out with another girl named Kayla. Our trio would often spend time at Summer's house, one of the oldest homes in the city, built around 1830. We loved her mom's bedroom because it had this massive bed, high ceilings, and vintage suitcases lining the walls. One day, when we were about 10, we finished watching a movie in there and started jumping on the bed like little hooligans. After a minute or so, we noticed something strange. There were 4 of us on the bed, not 3. We froze, and a shadow darted out the door. We didn't set foot in that room again until we were in the 9th grade. One night, after a concert, the 3 of us returned to Summer's house. Her room was filled with mirrors strategically placed so that no matter where you stood, you could see the entire space reflected back at you. She claimed it was because her house was haunted. We were lying in bed, watching TV when, in one of the mirrors, we noticed the light in her closet flick on. The door creaked open, and the dark shadow of a man loomed there. But when we turned to look directly at the closet, it was empty. In the mirror, however, the shadow remained. A month or so later, Summer and I skipped school with another friend we hadn't hung out with outside of class before. As we walked up to Summer's front door, this friend asked, "Is that your brother in the window?" We looked up at Summer's bedroom window and saw the same dark shadow standing there. We rushed inside, but the house was empty. No one was home. Summer was clearly fed up and freaked out by then, and I couldn't blame her. The shadow seemed to have a sinister grip on her home. Summer asked her mom about the shadow, and she turned pale as a ghost. She explained that as a child, she would see shadows all over her room. Summer's grandmother had cleansed the room with holy water and prayed for the shadows to leave, and for a long time they did. But recently, Summer's mom had begun to doubt her faith, and the shadows slowly crept back into her life. After high school, we drifted apart, and the last I heard, Summer had moved away. The lingering memories of that shadow always left me wondering what became of her and whether the darkness had ever fully disappeared. It's a mystery that still haunts me to this day. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the eerie and unknown in haunted house scary stories. If these tales have sent shivers down your spine, don't forget to hit that like button and let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you have your own ghostly encounters to share? We'd love to hear them. Subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell so you won't miss our next hair-raising episode. Until then, stay curious, stay spooky, and remember to keep an eye out for what may be lurking in the shadows.